I know that there are normal vegans out there. That's the thing. I know that this is a small minority.
So a few days ago, I was invited onto my BFF/ideological twins live stream. The purpose of the live stream was to respond to a video made by the vegan YouTuber Ask Yourself. I'm not familiar with Ask Yourself, but I thought, I could offer like a vegan perspective since I knew that was kind of what the topic was about. So I went vegetarian at the age of 8 by my own volition. My mom describes a specific event where, we were sitting down and eating hamburgers, and I was wearing like a dress with little cows on it, and at some point it came up that what we were eating were cows, and she said I stopped eating meat right then and there, but I don't really actually remember that. What I do remember though is watching Jurassic Park, and there's that scene where they're like feeding the T-Rex, and like a leg of like a lamb or something hits the car, and everyone's like, ah, and then the evil lawyer guy is like, what, you don't like lamb chops or whatever? He says that to Lex Murphy, and then she says, I happen to be a vegetarian.
He's gonna eat the goat? Excellent.
What's the matter, kid? You never had lamb chops?
I happen to be a vegetarian.
And I thought that was just like the coolest thing. I was like, oh, there's a word for that. I am that. And I have been that now for the past like 22 years or something. And I've been vegan since I was 14, so like 16 years. Over the years, I've gone to countless protests, I've written to Animal Liberation Front prisoners, played benefit shows for animal sanctuaries, and I was even arrested and charged with second-degree felony for liberating a puppy from a crappy mall pet store. I'm still passionate about being vegan and animal rights, and I do believe that there is a moral imperative for, not just the animals, but for our fucking planet, that we do move towards a vegan future, and I think we are doing that. But I'm a bit less extreme and hardline in my views now. I try to be more pragmatic since I just don't foresee us having like this animal liberation like revolution happening. I feel like we should be working towards incremental change. So after our fun little live stream, I decided to pop on the Ask Yourself Discord to see what my vegan comrades would be saying about me. So apparently I didn't impress them, and that's okay, but I did see an interesting critique. I was called a vegan Uncle Tom. And that's interesting because I am the postmodern neo-Marxist intersectional feminist progressive SJW. So I'm taken aback. I'm like, wait, I'm the one who calls people Uncle Toms, not the other way around. I've called countless people Uncle Toms, probably like millions of fucking people I've called Candace Owens an Uncle Tom, Jesse Lee Peterson's an Uncle Tom, Tree of Logic's an Uncle Tom, Anthony Bryan Logan's an Uncle Tom. I've called Blair White the trans Uncle Tom, Milo Yiannopoulos is the gay Uncle Tom. The list goes on. But never have I had this term thrown back at myself. It made me think of how other people probably felt when I called them Uncle Toms, because it's like an insult to one's sincerity and convictions, and it implies that the individual would throw their own people under the bus just to gain cookie points with bigots. So anyway, over the years I've learned that when someone critiques you, you can either take it as an unfounded personal attack, or you can just buck up and welcome the feedback. If the critique has merit, great. Here's a chance to evolve into a slightly better version of yourself. If it doesn't have merit, great. I'll agree to disagree on your assessment.
And this is especially bad for the PR vegans who already have a shit reputation.
Yeah, we've got a real image problem.
Which is partially deserved. I mean, there's a reason. But I know that there are normal vegans out there. That's the thing. I know that this is a small minority of spurgs that don't speak for the greater vegan movement.
Maybe I'd say they might even be 30% of vegans, because most people who are vegan, they're not even vegan for their whole lives. They're in that obnoxious phase the whole time.
Yeah.
Okay, I can see how this is kind of like vegan Uncle Tom-ish. But what I mean is that vegans have a serious fucking image problem. We just do. There's some people who people go vegan for a multitude of reasons. there's a lot of vegans who are like pretty loud who are just make it seem like an anti-science fad diet that fucking can cure cancer. And then there's other vegans, especially when they just like started going vegan, who just like talk about it in a way that's really unproductive and annoying, and are very critical to others around them and look down on other people. And then there's also vegans who just lack sensitivity around other marginalized communities / reject the intersectional approach to social justice advocacy. So saying things like animal agriculture is as bad as slavery, the Holocaust, rape, or like make other comparisons like that, it just lacks nuance and sensitivity. It's not advancing our movement.
I will say though, I understand why people use language like this. Like, it's useful when, because it's like people act like utilizing emotion is this totally invalid thing to do when discussing like complicated political issues, or using a little bit of hyperbole is like not acceptable under any circumstance. But I mean, it is, especially with like urgent like moral issues. The only thing is that we should just be like a little sensitive about it, you know, and try to be smart about things.
So when it comes down to it, honestly, no, I don't think there is a good case for consuming animal products if you don't have to. You know, like it tasting good isn't a good reason. So unless you need to eat it for like health reasons, or you don't have access to, you know, resources to have a healthy vegan diet, yeah, I guess I do. I don't know. My issue with like judging people or going really hard on people, even though I completely understand the reasoning behind it, you know, it's just that life is the thing I can't wrap my head around. Is it's like there's no, like, I understand being like morally and like philosophically just like really consistent. I see the value in that, but I just don't see any way in which that can apply to all people or all situations, you know, because the fact is life eats life, you know, that's how it is. And I think it makes sense to try to avoid eating life that has sentience and a complex nervous system, but you can't be morally like consistent to the core with it, because it's like we can't go out and, you know, try to like kill predators before they like kill their prey, even though, you know, following this logic, that would be the morally consistent thing to do. And also we just this is such a huge, like massive, wide scale fucking issue worldwide. You know, we're gonna have to undo millennia of animal agriculture. And one of the only points that Tristan made that I agree with during our stream was that shaming people doesn't work when you're the minority. Shame can work when you're in the majority, but when you're in the minority, I don't think it moves our case along, you know? I want the same goals as any other vegan. I have really mixed feelings about what the best way is to go about that. My feeling on it now, as of this moment, is that I think we should be encouraging people who, like Devin, for example, he's 95% vegan. His girlfriend's a vegan chef. He eats fish occasionally. I don't think he's a good target for vegan criticism. I think in general we should focus on like criticizing like one big thing at a time. So it's like, let's start by factory farming, you know, like, and people modifying their lifestyle choices to like not create that need, and then also creating pressure on the government to regulate factory farming and keep expanding our ideas of animal welfare, you know, until ideally the whole fucking thing is fucking abolished. But this is just it's so astronomically far from where we're at, you know, like where the average fucking person's at. And it can seem different when you're in like a little bubble with your progressive friends, but we really have to work from like the ground up, and we have to be able to meet people where they're at, and we have to be able to encourage them even when they're making smaller steps, instead of like, I don't see how vegan puritanicalism really helps anyone, because I mean, everyone knows like there's no way to fucking exist that doesn't cause suffering unto other beings, you know. Even if you eat like a vegan diet, you know, it's like, oh, there's the mice and bugs that are killed from picking the food, and you know that, you know what I mean? There's just like, it's just complicated. So yeah, as of this moment, I am pragmatic. I'm understanding to people who aren't totally vegan, and I want to support them in the efforts that they make towards being vegan. And I can see how this comes off as Uncle Tomish. And also, like, you know, of course, I'm a fucking human being. I don't want to be the annoying vegan stereotype. So I'm sure on some level I do have that, like, that human yearning to just kind of like fit into a degree or something, or like be accepted and not want to be the like, ooh, the like virtue signaling vegan, like, so that could color my perception in such a way that maybe I'm not going about things in the best way. So I guess I'm open to learning and hearing other opinions on the best way to go about things, because this is kind of, it's just like, this is like the battle in all like justice movements is, do we go for incremental change or do we abolish the system and have a revolution? You know, given how many fucking people that are on the planet right now, I just don't see it being possible to have like a grassroots like revolution happening anytime soon. So yeah, so that's where I'm at. Yeah, and if you think I'm wrong, come at me, brah.
Gender is a social construct. It just is.